Good evening, respected teachers. I am presenting a case of Mr. A, 63-year-old male, resident of Burari, Delhi, Mason by occupation. He presented with chief complaint of bilateral lower limb swelling for last 2 months. History was given by patient himself and seems to be reliable. As per patient, he was apparently alright 2 months back when he first noticed bilateral lower limb swelling, which was insidious in onset and gradually progressive in nature. Initially, the swelling was present only over the dorsum of the both feet, which gradually progresses to involve up to the level of knee over a period of 1.5 months, and it was not accompanied with any diurnal or postural variation. Patient found it difficult to wear his slippers because of the swelling and also noticed marks of the slipper on the dorsum of the foot. The swelling was not associated with facial puffiness or abdominal distension or shortness of breath. On direct questioning, patient also told that he was having frothy urine for last 2 months, which was not associated with any decreased urine output, hematuria or nocturia. Swelling was not associated with any pain, redness or tenderness of the limb. This was not associated with chest pain, palpitation, chest heaviness, orthopnea, PND, cough, hemoptysis, not associated with yellowish discoloration of eye or urine, abdominal distension, PR bleeding, fever, sore throat, epistaxis, skin rash, oral ulcer, joint pain, weight. It was not associated with any weight loss or decreased appetite, any backache, NSAID use or any alternative medication use. Patient consulted to nearby practitioner and was given some medication which increases his urine output, but his swelling didn't improve significantly, so he consulted in RML hospital where he was investigated and was told to have normal serum creatinine and leakage of large amount of protein in the urine. He was also told to have blood in urine. Patient was advised for kidney biopsy, but he refused for the same. He told that they also sent some special investigation which came out to be positive. Patient took LAMA from the RML hospital and came to SGRH on 3rd January 2026 for further management and in the Gangaram, he was started on some IV medication, followed his urine output increases and swelling was decreases gradually and was present only up to the ankle. Patient underwent kidney biopsy on 8 January 2026, but he wasn't aware of his reports. He told that he received some injection which was given over the period of 6 to 8 hours and was advised to follow up in OPD after 14 days for the next dose. Past history, there is no any history of hypertension, diabetes, TB, asthma. Family history is not significant. Personal history has normal bowel and bladder, consume mixed diet. There is no any history of addiction. He belongs to Kuppaswamy scale lower middle class. Summary.
At what point have you taken the history on this?
Ma'am, I have taken.
So 2 months history, somewhere 3rd January, admitted to Gangaram.
Yes, ma'am.
And when did you take the history?
Ma'am, I have taken his history on 6th or 7th around.
6th January. So while he was admitted.
Yes, ma'am.
But आपने तो biopsy के बाद injection वो भी सुना दिया.
So I thought this was like post facto.
Admit था तो मैंने उससे फिर बात करी थी बाद में.
So again, when you're presenting, you'll have to pick a date and time.
Okay.
You might know too many other things, but then you have to pick when you are presenting it from. So if you're saying you're going to present from 6th, then it should be before the biopsy. Okay. If you're going to be presenting from 14th, I'm fine. Again, there is nothing wrong. It is life. So you say I'm presenting from 14th. So because then
14th is what in this context?
14th January.
So that's when the biopsy
is on 8th.
On 8th
biopsy. I missed that, sorry.
So biopsy is on 8th. So if you're going to either be before
so
the biopsy or after
results
the biopsy.
were on 14th.
No, he is not aware of the reports, ma'am. He wasn't aware of the report.
Yeah, so there is some.
कहानी पूरी तो करी थी वो. He is not aware, but she has already declared the results.
Obviously she knows it.
नहीं, she knows it and everyone here knows it. Diagnosis क्या है भाई? सब लोग बता दो. हाँ? किसी के मन में कोई डाउट रह गया है इसकी प्रेजेंटेशन के बाद कि कोई और डायग्नोसिस हो सकता है? नहीं. सो क्या क्या चीज़ें हैं जो इसने हिस्ट्री में ऑलरेडी ब्लैक एंड वाइट में दे दी जिससे आपको पता है कि
लॉन्ग नो
membranous
का
है?
हिस्ट्री।
सो एक एक बताते जाओ, पहले ये क्लोज कर देते हैं क्योंकि पिटारा तो पहले ही खुल चुका है, तो वो रिटुक्समैब दिया है, बिना नाम के रिटुक्समैब पता चल गया है, ठीक है, तो एक तो रिटुक्समैब दिया है, फिर ठीक है, सो अडल्ट ऑनसेट नेफ्रोटिक सिंड्रोम है, सो एक वो हो गया, फिर सम स्पेशल टेस्ट वाज सेंट व्हिच वाज पॉजिटिव, ब्लड में भेजा, बायोप्सी तो है नहीं, तो PLA2R है। सो आपकी कहानी से वो तो सारा सार तो सबने ऑलरेडी कर लिया। सो नाउ वी कैन टेक द क्वेश्चन आउट ऑफ व्हाट इज द डायग्नोसिस एंड फोकस ऑन हाउ यू अप्रोच समवन। सो वो कर लेते हैं क्योंकि यहाँ पे कहीं पे भी छुपा नहीं है कि बायोप्सी में क्या दिख रहा है, ठीक है, ओके। सो ऑन हिस्ट्री व्हाट वुड बी योर डिफरेंशियल?
So, just with history, my probable diagnosis will be adult onset nephrotic syndrome, mainly primary glomerular disease. My first differential would be membranous, other one FSGS, and looking his age, there's a least chances of IgA nephropathy because he told that he was having blood in urine also.
ओके, सो बट यही तीन है, और क्या क्या डिफरेंशियल में होगा?
मिनिमल क्यों नहीं हो सकता?
At this, usually, ma'am, in minimal, we don't have history of any blood in urine.
तो उतना मेम्ब्रेनस में
वो
नहीं
तो
होता,
membranous में
FSGS
भी
में भी
नहीं
नहीं
है।
होता।
Membranous में तो बिल्कुल ही नहीं होता।
हाँ,
ऐसे
वो
membranous
तो किसी में भी नहीं,
membranous
नेफ्रोटिक
में
सिंड्रोम
ही
बाय
कौन सा है?
डेफिनेशन, नेफ्रोटिक सिंड्रोम बाय डेफिनेशन में हेमेचूरिया नहीं होता।
हाँ जी सर, 30 to 40% of our cases of membranous can present with hematuria, microscopic hematuria.
फिर तो सब में हो सकता है।
मिनिमल में भी ऐसे ही लिखा हुआ है, दिखता नहीं है। मुझे भी कभी मेम्ब्रेनस में देखा नहीं,
सो
लिखा होगा इधर उधर।
अगेन, सो चलो ये तीन तो आपके हो गए,
Sir, looking his
मेम्ब्रेनस,
age,
FSGS, MCD, उसके अलावा और क्या है डिफरेंशियल?
looking his age, I would like to rule out the amyloidosis also in his age.
एम्ब्रोडोसिस, ठीक है, और क्या हो सकता है? ओके, और क्या हो सकता है? सो एम्ब्लोडोसिस बोल रहे हो तो माइलोमा भी खोल लो, साथ साथ में जा रहा है। सो माइलोमा में व्हाट काइंड ऑफ डैमेज वुड शो अप एज नेफ्रोटिक सिंड्रोम? सो माइलोमा हैज अ लॉट ऑफ डिफरेंट किडनी, सो प्राइमरी एम्ब्लोडोसिस हो गया, ओके, सो डेपोजिशन डिजीज, सो PGNMID usually would not be full-fledged nephrotic syndrome. It's going to be more MPGN pattern rather than full-blown nephrotic syndrome. So if you're looking at nephrotic syndrome, you're going to have amyloidosis, then you'll have deposition. So light chain deposition disease or that deposition disease. Cast nephropathy would not present like that. Similarly, PGNMID usually is not a nephrotic syndrome presentation.
nephritic,
Nephritic,
more
like
a
MPGN
combo.
kind of presentation would be more classic for it. Most common, इन सब में से most common क्या होगा? इन सब को अभी एक और जो most common है वो अभी तक बोला ही नहीं है ना, नाम ही नहीं बोला अभी तक के इसमें। लूपस, नेफ्रोटिक सिंड्रोम, ऐसे डायबिटिक है ना। सो अब वो डायबिटीज़ की हिस्ट्री है नहीं, वो अलग है, बट डायबिटिक वुड बी वेरी कॉमन, डायबिटिक नेफ्रोटिक सिंड्रोम, सो दैट इज ऑल्सो देयर। सो मे बी दे डिडंट नो अबाउट इट, यू आर गोइंग टू नाउ चेक एंड देन फाइंड आउट दैट दे आर
So
presenting
is he a
Patient-
documented non-diabetic?
Yes,
Did you
yes,
say
ma'am.
that in your history?
Yes, ma'am.
Long
I
history
already
of
told
nose.
that there is no history of any hypertension, diabetes, TB,
No,
asthma.
not having a history is different from somebody who's documented not to be a diabetic. There's a difference between the two.
Yes, ma'am.
So which category are you talking about? देखो मैंने आज तक जिंदगी में टेस्ट ही नहीं कराया, ठीक है, एंड देन ऐसे मुझे तो नहीं है, मैं शुगर टेस्ट कराती हूँ वो 500 निकलती है, राइट? सो देयर इज अ डिफरेंस, एंड समवन हु हैज हैड टेस्ट, whereas Ajay gets tests frequently every year and he's documented to be a non-diabetic. There's a difference between the two of us, right? So in your categories also these should be differentiated.
So ये तो clean history nephrotic syndrome exam.
हाँ एग्जामिनेशन भी बता दो.
In general, patient was conscious, timeless person with a BMI of 23.8, average build, pulse was 84 per minute, regular, normovolemic, no radial or radiofemoral delay with normal vessel wall condition, and all the peripheral pulses were palpable. BP was 120 by 70 in right arm in supine position and 116 by 70 in left arm supine position. Respiratory rate was 18, abdominothoracic type. Temperature was 98 degrees, 98.6 Fahrenheit. Hair was normal in color and texture. Eyes, in eyes there was no periorbital puffiness or xanthelasma or pallor or icterus seen. Ear and nose were normal. No oral ulcer and thrush seen. There was no any lymphadenopathy, rashes, striae on the skin. Nail were normal without any clubbing cyanosis. Edema was present bilaterally over the fit up to the ankle. It was pitting in nature. Systemic examination.
Yeah, go ahead. And you can give us maybe only the positive findings.
Okay. Ma'am, systemic examination
Nothing.
in
Edema?
normal था.
Edema की बात हो गई.
बस edema was present over there. Other thing were normal.
Okay. So why do you want to call it membranous now, not one of these other things? Or I think before that, how did you exclude secondary nephrotic syndrome? A secondary glomerular disease. We all agree it's a glomerular disease, but how did you exclude any possibility of glomerular disease?
Yeah.
Or how would you in your head and with
In
tests?
this age, we should rule out the malignancies which can be very common presentation, like solid organ malignancies like CA lung and colon cancer. I have asked for features like is there was any cough, hemoptysis.
Wait a second, I wasn't talking about secondary membranous, I was talking about general secondary glomerular diseases. That's where he started, diabetic.
Yes, ma'am.
So how do you kind of, at least you have to run some kind of a software in your head. ये common चीज़ें हैं, ये मुझे रास्ते से निकालनी हैं. Diabetes, multiple myeloma.
Yes, ma'am.
So you have to think कि और क्या manifestation इन सब में होंगी. That's how you rule them out in your head.
There wasn't any history of diabetes.
History नहीं है, but और कुछ diabetes का तुमने ढूंढा. Let's say he had something else.
Like
आंखें खराब हैं उसकी.
हाँ, diabetic
Let's say
fundus
कुछ
examination.
और है.
हाँ, no, there wasn't any
Neuropathy
changes.
है, which
No,
can tell
no.
you कि maybe he has diabetes.
There
So you
was-
look at other features of that disease. He said lupus. You look at other features of
No,
lupus.
there was no any history of joint pain or
Right?
rashes.
No, I'm sure नहीं है, but so our idea here is to kind of clinical approach. So when you see a patient with nephrotic syndrome, especially an older gentleman, young में चलो 10 साल का बच्चा है, it's a different ball game. But somebody who's 60 years old, the first thought somebody comes with swelling, in my head comes as diabetes. Lupus, okay, a male 60, I may not think about it for obvious reasons. Multiple myeloma. So, as we said, AL amyloidosis would present like this. So, what other features this nephrotic may have had for you to think that this is AL amyloid?
Or an exam that you would be looking for.
Patient may have history of lower BP, yeah, may can complain of dizziness, or on evaluation we can find that patient BP was persistently on the lower side. Patient can present with neuropathy.
So, neuropathy is something which
On
AL
exam,
amyloid
what would you-
frequently does.
Sir,
What would you look for?
We can see for tongue enlargement of
So
the
macroglossia, so you can
macroglossia.
look for that, see if there's any signs for that. Again, things that you can look for and see.
So, that's how you approach an older nephrotic state.
And again, so when you are presenting the exam, if in the exam you're presenting and then someone asks you what are the pertinent positives or pertinent negatives, so if you go through those and you point those out, but it is based on what you think is the right differential for a nephrotic. then it will make the examiner also feel, yes, this person has not only just taken a random review of systems or a random exam, which is kind of the stamp that they do for every patient. They've done that. You've done the exam, you've done the history, which is fine. You can do everything and you should do everything. But when you're presenting it, you have filtered it out to focus on what is the right differential for this patient, what are the things that are positive, what are the things negative, to kind of guide you towards that, rather than just that everything was positive, everything was negative kind of a thing. So I think that will make the
that
examiner
makes-
also
I
feel-
said that in the last class also, I remember, after the history. So when you give negative history, there are just two ways of doing. Either do it system wise, but a better way to do it is the differential in your head once you have taken a history. So then if you do it disease wise, it makes much more sense. And then you get, as he says, you get brownie points for it.
One, you get brownie points. Two, if you are doing it in a good manner, the examiner you are prompting the examiner to ask you, why did you ask this question? And you already have the answer for it.
Exactly.
So you are now prompting the examiner to ask you a question that you already know the answer for. And that will he will ask you 10 questions and he'll ask 10 others, which you don't know that he will ask. But the 10 you have asked, you already know the answer. So you've gotten, out of 20, you've already gotten 10. So I asked him 10, 20 questions, they already answered 10. And those 10, you have led him to there. If you lead him in the way that you want him, that is going to be better. If it is random, then it is random. And then he can go completely left field also. You start with membranous, you want nephrotic syndrome, you ask about myeloma, you ask about amyloid, you ask about diabetes, you ask about MCD, you ask about FSGS. And you lead them there, like, why is it not MCD, FSGS, why is it more likely to be membranous? This is going to be standard. Any nephrotic syndrome, they are going to ask you on history, why do you think this is more likely to be membranous? Why do you think it is more likely to be MCD or FSGS? This is going to be standard. So there's going to be age, gender, those kind of things. And then there's going to be the presentation. So when you're giving the history, make sure you present it so everyone knows that this is likely to be membranous more than MCD, FSGS. So what would be the thing to say? How would MCD, FSGS present? How would membranous
Why do you
present
call
in
it
history?
membranous?
Yes. Or in this
So
case,
that
why do
will
you
give
present it membranous?
Yeah, that's a simpler question, and then we can go to the rest.
In this case, I called it as membranous first time, first differential, because first of his age, it's belonged to 63. In elderly, membranous is most common, biopsy prevalent. Other one is there was no any previous history suggesting of anything else like diabetes, hypertension, no comorbid conditions. On evaluation, BP was also normal.
So is that in favor of membranous?
Compared to MCD, FSGS, because right now we are talking
Compared
just
to MCD,
membranous.
BP is, in MCD also BP may be normal.
So-
More likely to be normal actually.
Yes, ma'am.
So
between the two.
So the question is membranous versus MCD, FSGS. That's the three which are the most common. So how would you, in history, kind of lead your examiner to membranous? So how when they present, what's the major difference? A membranous nephrotic syndrome versus an MCD, FSGS nephrotic syndrome.
Someone else can take it up.
sort of renal dysfunction is there. We can
ना वो रीनल डिसफंक्शन तेरे को पता भी कैसे चलेगा, हिस्ट्री में कैसे पता चलेगा?
उसने बताया नॉर्मल क्रिएटिनिन, बट
हाँ, बट वो छोड़ दो, चेक ही नहीं किया, हिस्ट्री में कहाँ से पता चलेगा?
बता तो दिया.
Yes, she already
That's
used that word.
exactly.
So I was hoping कि आप ही बोलोगे.
2 महीने
Because
की-
you used that word in your presentation.
Slow presentation.
MCD, FSGS is going to present how? Florid, quick, rapid onset. Membranous is classically described as insidious, slowly increasing edema. MCD, FSGS will usually say, I remember the day, होली का दिन था, 3 दिन होली के बाद था, whatever. Some version of that is going to be used. Again, these are all percentages, these are all averages. It's not going to be 100% accurate either ways. They're not meant to be that. But when you have that story, or you ask that and then you put it in your story, it gives you that kind of clue that yes, someone is looking for it. thinking about it and then utilizing it in how you make your differential. है ना, adult onset nephrotic syndrome है, adult onset nephrotic syndrome है, ratio proportions हैं, वो ठीक है, but
वो ऑलमोस्ट बराबर ही हैं सारी.
so patient की history is, I remember the day, this is what I was doing and now there was edema. That is going to be likely primary MCD or MCD or primary FSGS. So you move that up on your ladder, move membranous below. So and I was hoping कि आप ही बताओगे क्योंकि आपने word use किया था insidious. So that was in your history. ठीक है, okay. So exam हो गया. अब आप how are you going to work him up?
During workup.
So now we are saying he is on. You are
He's
seeing him.
admitted
You are
on
seeing him on 3rd of January. Right now we are saying 3rd January को आपने इसको देखा. आप 3rd January को इसके साथ क्या
और देखा
करोगे?
भी होगा शायद.
3rd को भी देखा था आपने. तो 3rd को आप क्या
3rd से
करोगे?
लो फिर.
3rd को आप क्या करोगे इसके लिए?
So first, after clinical examination, I would like to send some investigation like say complete blood picture and complete blood picture, KFT, LFT, kidney profile, liver profile, and HbA1c level to rule out any diabetes. And I will also send some autoimmune markers, yeah, antibodies like FLAR2 antibodies and ANA, say complements level, anti-DS DNA level, and C-ANCA and P-ANCA, and I will.
C-ANCA, P-ANCA
Those
कहाँ
are
से
days-
आपने
sir, actually
differential
दो
में डाल
days
दिया?
जो मैंने-
आपने differential में है ही नहीं.
हाँ जी सर, hand.
अब आप सी अब वही मैं कह रहा हूँ. अब आपने
resource limited थोड़ा सा.
नहीं, रिसोर्स लिमिटेड छोड़ दो, मैं भी तो उसमें जा ही नहीं रहा हूँ. अब आप एग्जामिनर को बोल रहे हो अडल्ट ऑनसेट नेफ्रोटिक सिंड्रोम है और उसमें अब आपने C-ANCA P-ANCA डाल दिया बिना यूरिन रूटीन देखे भी. अभी आपने यूरिन रूटीन देखा भी नहीं है, आपने पहले ही C-ANCA P-ANCA डाल दिया. अब एग्जामिनर आपको क्या लगता है, जो मैं लेफ्ट फील्ड वाले सवाल की बात कर रहा हूं ना, अब आप पूरे लेफ्ट फील्ड ही चले गए. अडल्ट ऑनसेट नेफ्रोटिक सिंड्रोम का केस है, आप एंका डिजीज का डिस्कशन में क्यों जाना चाह रहे हो? आप C-ANCA P-ANCA बोलोगे, आप यू आर आस्किंग फॉर एन एंका डिस्कशन which you have not built for this case at all because this case has nothing to do with ANCA.
Doesn't seem like.
Don't go there. I would not even go to an ANA. You are now opening the door. You put ANA in your presentation, you are opening the door for lupus. 50-year-old, 40-year-old female है, बिल्कुल डाल भी सकते हो. Again, in real life, आप भेज रहे हो जहाँ 40,000 का भेज रहे हो वहाँ 5,000, 10,000 और भेज दिए.
5-10 नहीं है यार. It's much more.
But it doesn't add up. And it is not something that you would order for someone who has this. Especially if you know you're going to do a biopsy. मैं तो ये भी बोलूँगा FLAR2 भी ना भेजो. I would even make the argument, आप बायोप्सी करने ही वाले हो, बायोप्सी करो, मेम्ब्रेनस आएगा फिर FLAR2 भेज दो, है ना. बायोप्सी आप अगर ये है कि बायोप्सी कर ही नहीं रहे हो तब तो अलग कहानी. अब बायोप्सी करने ही वाले हो, बायोप्सी करोगे ही, तो फिर FLAR2 पहले क्यों भेजना है? FLAR2 बाद में भेज दो. आएगा पॉजिटिव तो भेजोगे, नहीं आएगा तो नहीं भेजोगे. So again, the reason I'm saying that is that because what will happen is when you present, anything and everything you say has to be targeted to leading the examiner to where you want to lead them, not where they can go on their own. So target it, plan it and execute it. So you can have 200 questions in history, 200 questions in exam, 200 things in test that you can order. But take 5 minutes before you think about what you're going to present. You have your history, you have your exam, focus on this is my differential, this is how I'm going to present. Rework everything towards what you want them to go to, so that it will be easier and better. ठीक है, so चलो वो चले गए. So इसमें आप और
I would like to have some radiological evidence like in the form of chest x-ray and ultrasound to look for the kidney size and urine RM to look for any urine activity.
and
डिपस्टिक तो यूरिन आरएम में आ जाएगा. डिपस्टिक, हाँ डिपस्टिक भी
डिस्ट्रिक्ट हो गया, ठीक है.
मतलब
और
डिपस्टिक पहले कर लेंगे.
डेफिनेशन ऑफ नेफ्रोटिक सिंड्रोम वाले टेस्ट तो कर लो.
लिपिड प्रोफाइल,
क्वांटिफाई.
थायराइड प्रोफाइल भी एक बार.
चलो क्वांटिफाई नहीं किया अभी तक तो कहीं पे भी
quantify
यूपीसीआर तो हुआ ही नहीं
24 आवर यूरिनरी प्रोटीन
24 आवर तो 24 घंटे ले लेगा
सर यूपीएस मतलब
यूपीसीआर तो कर
स्पॉट
लो
यूपीसीआर
कौन कर रहा है 24 आवर एडमिट करके 3 तारीख को सो यूपीसीआर तो कर लो ना सो द रीजन आई एम ब्रिंगिंग इट अप इज दैट वी हैव नाउ टॉक्ड अबाउट एन एंका एंड वी हैव नॉट टॉक्ड अबाउट यूपीसीआर because we are now randomly saying tests rather than focused on this is what my diagnosis is and so you can batch it. So for my diagnosis of nephrotic syndrome I want a lipid profile, I want a urine protein, I want a LFT and I want a KFT. Then before I plan a biopsy I want a CBC, I want a PTINR, I want an APTT, I want viral markers. So आप उस order में अगर बोलोगे तो that makes everyone say okay someone is thinking about this because I have myeloma on my differential, I have an LFT and I will look at the albumin globulin there to see if there is hypergammaglobulinemia. I want a urine albumin creatinine ratio and a urine protein creatinine ratio to differentiate whether there is some differential protein that is leaking. आप अगर ये वाला अगर आप सवाल now you are leading the examiner कि मैं albumin भी कर रहा हूँ प्रोटीन भी कर रहा हूँ अब पूछो मेरे को तैयारी करके आओ और डाल दो उसको
दोनों अलग अलग क्या बताएंगे पहले ये बता दो
मैं अगेन व्हाट आई एम सेइंग इज इफ यू आर प्रिपेयर्ड फॉर दिस you can do some of this stuff because you are leading the examiner to what you want and you are prepared for. So you have to first prepare for it, then you lead him there कि ये अब मैं तैयारी करके हूँ अब आजा पूछने फिर आप उसको वहाँ पे लीड कर लो.
देखो एक दूसरी बात भी है, वन इज एग्जाम और एक रियल लाइफ में क्या करना है. अब रियल लाइफ जब नेफ्रोटिक एक 60 साल का ओपीडी में आता है, आई टेल यू व्हाट आई वुड ऑर्डर. आई वुड नॉट आस्क फॉर ANA, DNA, ANCA. I would do the first 4 which you said, CBC, KFT, LFT, A1C, and I may order myeloma which is SPE and a free light chain and do a biopsy. I mean that's what I actually, and maybe Jaya can tell you कि this is what I
would do PTINR, APTT, viral markers because वो मेरे को बायोप्सी के लिए चाहिए ही चाहिए और बायोप्सी मैं करने ही वाला हूँ. वो मैं साथ के साथ ही कर दो जिससे कि वो अगले दिन आए, आप उसको काउंसिल करो, बायोप्सी के लिए एडमिट करो, बायोप्सी करो और उसके बाद देखो क्या निकलता है.
और इसमें दो
लूपस निकलेगा तो फिर ANA, C3, C4 तो भेज ही दोगे, आज नहीं तो कल भेज दोगे. माइलोमा आएगा तो माइलोमा का भेज दोगे. बट
at times it feels stupid when you check someone else's records and 1000 things are done in a clear nephrotic syndrome. क्यों कराया ये सब, ठीक है? And it does amount to a load of money for the patient. So it's unfair. I mean, I understand a lot of people do this every day, but again, you should know the right thing, which I always say. You may do wrong things, but then you should know this is wrong. That's my other philosophy. Right? No, आना चाहिए, पता होना चाहिए.
And shooting from the hip सारा कुछ कर दो कि मैं चाहे एंका डिजीज है, RPGN है, चाहे अडल्ट ऑनसेट नेफ्रोटिक है, सबके मैं सेम ही टेस्ट ऑर्डर करता हूँ.
अब एक PN का फॉल्स पॉजिटिव आ जाएगा, which is very often.
बिल्कुल आएगा.
ठीक है, और फिर आप कंफ्यूज हो जाएंगे. That's the problem with ordering unnecessary tests.
There will be some false positives that
कोई false ANA तो रोज पॉजिटिव आता है फिजूल में, and you'll get diverted there.
1:100 वाला आ जाएगा.
आ जाएगा.
ठीक है, ओके.
चलो आगे चलते हैं.
अब रिपोर्ट्स बता दो.
पेशेंट
हाँ, आपने टेस्ट ऑर्डर किए हैं तो अब रिपोर्ट भी बता दो क्या क्या है.
सर on 3rd Jan UPCR was 5.04 gram per gram.
अभी तो तुम 24 hours पे अटकी हुई थी.
Sir,
अब UPCR बता रही हो.
Ma'am, I have your 24 hour also.
हाँ?
24 hours कितना है?
वो कितना है?
Sir,
चलो.
it was 7,176 milligram per day.
7 grams.
ठीक है.
और ये 5 grams है. चलो. और उसका क्या हुआ? Why was he saying albumin creatinine ratio and protein creatinine ratio? Let's kind of look at that also. I wonder if everyone is clear about it.
UPCR may be
कोई भी एक बोलो.
Are not detected UPCR. UPCR you can detect
You can detect non-albumin proteins in a urine protein creatinine ratio, which you would not detect on a urine albumin creatinine ratio. So if there is a non-albumin proteinuria, that is a significant component Your UACR wouldn't pick it up, but your UPCR would. So that's something that would then kind of do that. Okay. And then dusra, why is there a huge difference between the 24-hour and the spot, and how or why can we use the spot?
In follow-up,
ये भी कभी ना कभी तो एग्जाम में कोई ना कोई पूछ ही लेगा.
in follow-up, usually we use urine spot PCR for following the patient. But
So
there is a
You tell
difference.
me, in diagnostics, does it matter the patient has 5 or 7? To me, it's the same.
हाँ मैम.
So,
But the difference between 7 and 5 is because everyone is not passing 1 gram of creatinine every day. There is a creatinine and a protein ratio, और वो भी एक spot में, that there may be diurnal variations also in protein passing. Like after waking up, patient passes like protein. If we check protein at that time, UPCR may be low as compared to UPCR which is checked at afternoon.
why?
There is a difference, ma'am, because there is a concentrated urine.
So, why do we do a ratio?
Why and how can we?
If we were worried about concentration and dilution of urine, why would we do a ratio? So, let's say somebody has a specific gravity of 1010 and somebody has it at 1030, right? One is concentrated, one is dilute. Do you think doing UPCR on this and this would give you the same result or different results? I hope my question is very clear. Anybody? It will give the same result. Why will it give the same result? Because we have taken a ratio of protein and creatinine. अगर dilute urine आएगा तो बाबा protein dilute होएगा तो creatinine कैसे रुकेगा dilute होने से? Both will get diluted in 10-10. इधर concentrated में दोनों concentrate हो जाएंगे, दोनों का amount 10 से 30 हो जाएगा, let's say 3 times हो जाएगा, दोनों का बढ़ेगा ना? So the whole idea of doing these ratios is to eliminate concentration and dilution.
No, I was saying there's a difference of 24-hour urine protein and UPCR because we are taking creatinine.
Oh, that's a different story. Then you brought in diurnal variation and some creatinines and dilute and concentrated urine. So I just wanted to make that clear. Because you use the word dilute urine and concentrated. उसकी कोई ज़रूरत ही नहीं है. ठीक है ना? अब diurnal को भी ले आओ, चलो वो भी सुन लेते हैं. चलो बोलो डायरनल में क्या होगा? रात को कम हो जाएगा, दिन में बढ़ जाएगा, ये कहना चाहते हैं?
In cases of SLE patient, usually spot urine PCR is higher in the urine protein passing is more in the daytime as compared to morning time, sir, ma'am, because that diurnal variation was there.
मैंने नहीं पढ़ा कभी ये. मैंने कभी नहीं पढ़ा जिंदगी में. भाई तुमने पढ़ा किसी ने ये कुछ किसी किताब में लिखा है नहीं जो हमने ना पढ़ी हो? लेकिन वो भी डाइल्यूशन या कंसंट्रेशन ही तो होगी ना कहीं. देखो रात से कलेक्टेड मॉर्निंग का यूरिन है, उसमें भी कंसंट्रेटेड यूरिन है. That's why microalbumin excretion rates are done on morning urine. You are more likely to pick it up. वो concentrated urine है.
Again, the other thing just to kind of keep in mind, your testing and your variability in reporting is a higher problem than it is that it is actually different inside the body of the patient. Your urine protein measurements, your urine creatinine measurements, you take a urine creatinine and give it to the lab and have them run the same sample 20 times, you're not getting the same results. There's a huge variability in serum creatinine, and in urine creatinine the range is even larger. सीरम क्रिएटिनिन में तो आप 0.5 से 3 के रेंज में या 4 के रेंज में करना चाह रहे हो और उसमें आपका 15% वेरिएबिलिटी है. यूरिन क्रिएटिनिन में यू आर स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम 10 एंड यू कैन गो अप टू 200. So the variability that you get, and this is something if you look at your donors urine protein creatinine ratios or urine albumin creatinine ratios or other patients who are getting random testing, you will find there are patients whose urine dipstick is completely normal, there is no protein, but the measured urine protein creatinine is like 2 grams urine ratio. And the reason is, for whatever reason, the urine creatinine was very low on that sample, the reported urine creatinine, and the ratio is now sky high. But the patient doesn't have anything actually that is matching. You repeat the sample,
repeat it,
the urine
come down.
creatinine is going to be like 100. The urine creatinine protein was still 20 last time, 20 this time. But now the ratio is 0.2. Last time उन्होंने 15 कर दिया तो 1 या 1.5 आ गया. So again, there is a huge variability in how it is being tested and the test parameter. So the ratio of UPCR is 5, 24-hour is 7. Yes, is the 24-hour creatinine of 1, which is the underlying assumption for doing a spot urine protein creatinine and then saying that a ratio of 5 means 5 grams coming out in 24 hours. The underlying assumption is 1 gram creatinine is being excreted. If that is not valid, 20 kg boy of, let's say, 3-year-old, that is not going to be valid. It's not going to be valid for a Salman Khan, who has a muscle mass of probably 1.5 grams. So those are assumptions that are there. So those should be adjusted based on what you have. A 24-hour urine creatinine, 24 hours protein collection for them will not be the same as a spot, because the underlying assumption that 1 gram creatinine is getting excreted every day is not true. The same is true with AKI. Someone has AKI, it's not going to be true. They're not putting out all the creatinine. They're not in steady state. And 1 gram is not going to be putting out. So in those also, this will not apply. So those are things that everyone should know, that a spot protein creatinine, a 24-hour, those are kind of the discrepancies that are there and the underlying assumptions that are there. So, okay. So अब creatinine is normal, KFT.
Creatinine was normal, sir. It was 1.12.
Okay. Any other labs which were positive or pertinent negatives that you?
So, all viral markers were negative. Na was negative. Total albumin was serum protein and albumin total protein was 3.74 and albumin was 1.86 only.
So 3.74, 1.8, so 1.6 was globulin.
Yes.
Okay.
And sir, PLAR2R was 321 RU per ml.
Okay. और HbA1c हमारा डिफरेंशियल में था,
नहीं लिखा है इसमें।
किया ही नहीं था. ठीक है. ओके.
नहीं करा था, इसमें नहीं लिखा।
इसमें नहीं
normal
लिखा. That's okay. ठीक है.
If I were you, I would have said some random value.
5.5.
I would have said 5.8.
ठीक है.
So, be smart enough to do those little things.
That's okay. ठीक है. और
In urine RM, there was protein 3 plus, pus cells was 17.2, RBCs was 12.
so ये वाला ना, ये कैसे, ये
2 में कैसे आते हैं?
मैम आजकल सब ऐसे भी निकलते हैं.
Point two
पर
में
अपने मुंह से तो नहीं
कैसे
बोलो
होते
ना,
हैं?
ये
हाँ,
ऐसे
तुम
वाली
मत
चीजें.
बोलो, exactly.
So मतलब अब
So be smart, that's what I meant.
17.2
Muscles क्या
कौन
होते
नाप रहा है? ये 0.2 किसने नापा? ना, कौन
जैसे
बैठ के
एक बार यहाँ पे-
17.2 नाप रहा था? So again, so same is true with कि कोई बोलता है कि
सोडियम में किसी ने बोला था हमारे सामने
Platelet
135.5.
प्लेटलेट रिपोर्ट भी निकलती है 49.3.
अरे बाबा रे.
भाई इतनी एक्यूरेसी तो है ही नहीं किसी की. So क्यों? So don't use that and say that in a,
नहीं, we
because it's
can't be
asking for
40.5
हाँ.
people here,
हाँ.
right? So it's the same thing.
हाँ. So
Pus
वैसे
cells
वाले-
can't be measured in half.
हाँ. तो 17 ठीक है. Okay.
उसको अपने आप राउंड ऑफ कर दिया करो, अदरवाइज यू गेट इनटू ट्रबल. ठीक है, ऐसे नहीं बोलो. बी स्मार्ट.
ठीक है. So there are pus cells, no RBCs.
RBCs was 12.
12 RBCs. ठीक
ये
है.
भी 12.2 था कुछ.
नहीं,
ठीक है. फिर
culture was negative, urine culture was negative
ठीक है.
and
यूरिन कल्चर किया क्यों? मत करा
pus cells मैम थे तो इसलिए कल्चर भेजा था साथ में,
ठीक है. अब
मतलब बाद में।
अब पस सेल्स
अब
को
आप
पकड़ लो.
अब आप फंस गए
फंस
ना.
गए. अब
आप फंस गए. आपने अब
अब
WBC
आप-
और RBC बोल दिया.
अब आप फंस गए.
आपने यूरिन खुद देखा?
हाँ जी,
यूरिन देखा?
खुद से नहीं करा था, ये लैब
नहीं, ये तो डिपस्टिक है, वो तो मैंने मान लिया. तो अब डिड यू सी द यूरिन?
कोई नहीं देखता यार।
यूरिन बैग में तो देखा हुआ था।
अरे बैग में कौन दे? बैग में क्यों था? फोली बेचारे को क्यों डाल दी? इसको फोली भी डाल
हाँ,
दी?
फोली क्यों डाली?
फुली डली थी उसको, फुली डलवा
I'm
के आया
also
था
always
उसको बाहर
fighting
से।
a fully
आर्मी से-
फोली बाहर से डलवा के आया था?
लामा लिया था ना
और
सर,
तुमने रखा
आर्मी से।
अरे ठीक है, चलो ये तो अलग ही कहानी हो गई। तो
फोलीज भी बहुत फिजूल में डलते हैं।
तो so again, so the key is going to be now that you have this, is your differential still the same? You have a urine, is your differential still the same? Or do you want to change your differential?
अब तुम एक सवाल पूछना चाहिए, with PLA2R or without PLA2R? If I was you, I would have asked that question. How do you want me to answer it?
So
घबराओ
again,
मत यार, in a very light mood.
yeah. So again, the reason, so which is why you want to do it stepwise rather than shotgun. Shotgun में सब कुछ कर दिया, सब कुछ भेज दिया. And again, in the exam, they'll ask you, you did this, and they will make you say urine routine and urine sediment as part of your exam, not as part of your lab test. Many of the examiners, at least that I have had
it
here,
happens, it happens.
they will say
And you would be given hypothetical situations, like I just said. अब आपने PLA2R पहले बताया और urine routine बाद में बताया. Normally the sequence of events should be the other way. Urine routine is a basic test which is done in a primary healthcare center. Alright? So PLA2R is done in a
And वो
fancy
4 दिन
lab.
के
The
बाद
turnaround time is 4
2 to
days.
3 days, whatever.
So you have urine routine first, UPCR first, and then comes PLA2R. ठीक है ना? So normal उसमें we have to be pragmatic. तो जैसे रोज में काम होता है वैसे ही आपका काम है. So first you get these tests, you sit on PLA2R जो 4 दिन बाद आता है. तब तक ये थोड़ी कि दुनिया रुकेगी. You treat the guy, you narrow down your differential. So आपको hypothetical situation तभी यानी ना बिना PLA2R के अब that's what he meant.
Yeah. Means you had your history, you had your exam, you
And
ordered
you
a
have a
CBC,
urine
KFT,
routine.
you had a CBC, KFT, LFT, urine
Basic
routine,
test आ गए
UPCR,
आपको शाम
albumin.
तक.
Now with that urine routine, is your differential still the same or is
yeah,
it different now?
different. Or you want to broaden it, you want to narrow it, whichever way. It's an exercise again for the brain.
I would like to keep the same.
Same.
Just
Galat jawab. So the reason, so again, the point is, one is, as ma'am said, is real life. Second is exam. In both, it is going to get you in trouble. The reason it will get you in trouble is that as physicians, as human beings, we lock ourselves in and we lock up on something in particular. And in this case, we are already locked in. वो मैंने इसलिए सबसे पहले बोल दिया कि डायग्नोसिस सबको मालूम है, इस पेशेंट का डायग्नोसिस क्या है वो यहाँ कोने कोने में सबको मालूम है. So that is not what we are going to talk about anymore. The point is you lock in yourself with a diagnosis. So you have a case in real life or in otherwise, you have a case in your mind. As soon as you zoom into one diagnosis, you stop seeing anything else around. Anything and everything that you are seeing is now going to go into that diagnosis only, and you're going to ignore things. You have hematuria, you have pyuria. That is not typical for any nephrotic syndrome classic, whether it is membranous, MCD or FSGS. That is not classic for it. It is an unusual finding. And when you have something that is telling you it is unusual, you should pick it up and reassess where you are. I'm not saying it is not going to be membranous. है तो membranous, सबको मालूम है कमरे में. But you should reassess, because what will happen in a real patient, you're going to lose the context of what is going on. And something or the other in addition is also happening to this patient. This is not your typical patient. Something else is happening. Whatever else is happening, if you keep your horizons broad, if you keep your differential broad, you will in future probably be able to pick up something which otherwise you would miss. Tons of people have missed myelomas. Tons of people. Everyone has missed myelomas. Whether it is for 1 month, 3 months, 6 months or whatever, people have done transplants and then found myeloma.
For years it gets missed.
So again, the reason they missed it is because they had locked in diabetic nephropathy. ये वाला है एंड माइलोमा मिस हो गया, ट्रांसप्लांट हो गया, ट्रांसप्लांट के बाद जब बायोप्सी की तब माइलोमा निकला. So the reason that this happens, and it will happen to everyone, is because we lock ourselves in. So don't lock yourself in very quickly. You have your biopsy, then you're locked in. You have your biopsy, you're locked in. You have a pathological diagnosis. But before that, don't lock yourself in. Keep your differential. Hematuria, pyuria with nephrotic range proteinuria with edema and nephrotic syndrome. Now what else is added in? Lupus, MPGN, IgA. So again, now you were talking about an inflammatory glomerulonephritis, not just a nephrotic syndrome, because there are pyuria and RBCs. You want to ignore them? Show me or that you've checked a smear, urine sediment, and that there are no casts. This is just RBCs, but there are no casts. There is no dysmorphic. There is no granular cast. There are no WBC casts. Then you can say, I looked at the smear. This is all just random urine RBCs and WBCs. There is nothing granular coming from the glomerulus. Then you can kind of make that comment. But if this is there, you can't ignore it unless you've looked at it and said that that is there. And people will absolutely want you to have looked at the urine. कि I looked at it, there are no casts, there is no dysmorphic. फिर dysmorphic का discussion कैसे देखते हैं, क्या देखते हैं, वो सारा भी शुरू होगा. So
कास्ट तो रिपोर्ट भी नहीं हुई थी यहाँ पर.
वो कास्ट तो वो कौन सा, वो तो टेक्नीशियन रिपोर्ट कर रहा है, कंप्यूटर आजकल तो अब एआई रिपोर्ट करेगा. एआई को दिखाया सिखाया कि नहीं तो वो पता नहीं कि एआई को कास्ट देखना सिखाया कि नहीं.
सो कास्ट को देखने की आदत डालनी पड़ेगी, थोड़ी सी होनी चाहिए रादर.
सो थोड़ा टेंजेंट में हो गया. ठीक है. ओके, सो नाउ यू हैव आरबीसीज. ठीक है.
So now you have to decide, you want to ignore this pyuria, little pyuria and hematuria, or you want to count this in.
After seeing the urine RM, I would like to send ANA profile also.
तो आप पहले भेज चुके हो. वो तो शॉटगन में ऑलरेडी जा चुका है. ANA C3 C4 तो ऑलरेडी चला गया, हैंग का भी चला गया, वो तो सब नेगेटिव आ गया. So वो तो चलो, ये तो हम शॉटगन में हो गया.
As he said, you have a right to ignore these. I mean, in real life, I would have ignored this. I'm sure he would have also ignored this.
I would
10-10.
I would
most
look
of
at
us
the
would,
smear, and if the smear is
most
not
of us
impressive,
minus
then that's
casts
fine.
would ignore it.
Yeah. And
So
again,
that's why I was asking you, why did you send a culture? So not all pyurias indicate infection. That's what we all need to, as nephrologists, understand.
yeah. And a 63-year-old male should be giving you symptoms. If he has a UTI, there is no reason why a 63-year-old male wouldn't tell you that they have some dysuria, something before. The more likely thing is he got some medicines before, and those medicines are causing some amount of interstitial something that is coming out. That is more likely again. But it could be that you now have membranous with some interstitial component. That is also possible.
That's also possible.
उसको कुछ दवाई दे दी पिछले 2 महीने में, आयुर्वेद, होम्योपैथी या कहीं और से, एंड या एनसेट दे दिया किसी ने कि चल तेरे को दर्द हो रहा है, इधर दर्द हो रहा है, एनसेट दे दो. Again, but that is again things. If you now have this and you have combined it in the history, bonus points. कि in the history you saw this, you went back and you got that history, and then you have that. That's, and in real life also it's bonus that you can then say that I know that this is likely related to this rather than that.
Right.
In real
And
life
if this
also.
urine culture had come positive, would you have treated this now or not?
If patient is not having symptoms,
Now you have learned the
sir,
technique.
in this case, male. In
So
male,
that's why you
usually
shouldn't
all
have
the
sent
UTIs are
it.
considered as complicated. So in male, sir, in male it should be treated.
Male with pyuria with a urine culture which is positive,
Positive.
even if there are no symptoms, it should be treated.
So in this guy,
If
you would
not-
have treated it. No, please no.
Usually,
If this urine culture came positive, I would not treat it, at least with no symptoms. Look, an obstructed system will always have symptoms, right? So that's why these useless tests are a big problem. And let me tell you, in real life again, a lot of these get treated
Yes.
by us and by physicians, which is much more common. Or someone else will see a positive urine culture report and start some silly antibiotic.
And then the patient will themselves every 2 weeks get another urine culture. For the next 2 years, they will do 20 urine cultures, 5 of them will be positive, and they will get 5 more antibiotics. And what will happen is 2 years later, they'll come to a third nephrologist saying, I have never been able to clear my urine infections, and now I have a urine culture which is pan resistant with either E. coli or Klebsiella, and take your pick.
And that's why our guts are bad.
And that's when you say that you shouldn't have gotten treated for any one of them.
Exactly.
The third nephrologist will then end up saying that. And then they'll
Hopefully.
stop all antibiotics, and that patient will not have any urine infections because they never had any urine
They
infections.
never had it to begin with.
So again, it's going to be
चलो let's come back to the case. Enough diversions, I think. अच्छा, तो तुम दो पे नैरो करना चाहो. So my question was इनके
Narrow
बाद
it to
4
two.
से 2 पे क्यों नैरो कर रहे हो तो. So most did not narrow it down. Agreed. So और कोई reason? डायबिटीज तो रूल आउट पहले ही हो गई ना, तो मान लिया हमने. वी आर जस्ट टॉकिंग अबाउट दीज 3 प्राइमरी ग्लोमेरुलर डिजीजेस नाउ, membranous, MCD, FSGS and amyloidosis. So these were our 4 left. तो इनमें से to my mind nothing narrows. After these they remain the same, more or less the same. Okay, because you also have no basis to narrow it down. अगर नैरो है तो फिर थोड़ा सा कारण देना पड़ेगा. चलो अब बायोप्सी.
Ma'am, kidney biopsy showed thickening of the glomerular basement membrane with azidophilic subepithelial spikes on the past staining. There was no any evidence of endocapillary proliferation or segmental sclerosis or crescents.
बस.
खाली इतने में थोड़ी चलेगा.
और देखो ये बायोप्सी
इतने में कैसे आप खाली मेम्ब्रेनस कर
लाइट माइक्रोस्कोपी में बेसमेंट मेम्ब्रेन नहीं दिखती, कैपिलरी लूप दिखती है.
सो अभी तो
टेक्निकल डिफरेंस.
सो अभी तो इसमें बहुत कहानी रह गई.
कितने
क्या
कंपार्टमेंट
है?
होते हैं? लास्ट टाइम भी ये बायोप्सी की मैंने
Tubules
डिटेल
were
में
normal.
कंपार्टमेंट में 4 में
Tubules
डिस्कशन
and
किया.
there was no crescent. There was
है.
basically deposition of IgG4.
ओके.
मैंने उसमें
अच्छा, ओके.
फोटो रखी हुई है.
हाँ. नहीं फोटो तो अब वो तो फिर पैथोलॉजी में ही देखेंगे, बट यहाँ पे आई एम नॉट श्योर वेदर वी कैन.
लास्ट टाइम मैंने एक मेल कराई थी सबको, व्हाट्सएप कराई थी.
Okay.
दैट वाज सम ट्रिकी बायोप्सी, बट दैट्स व्हाई आई गॉट इट. इसमें क्या करना है करके कोई फायदा नहीं. बट यू शुड नो हाउ टू डिस्क्राइब अ बायोप्सी यार इन सिंपल टर्म्स.
Tubules are normal, ma'am. There was, we can see only spikes in the silver stain. There was
Okay.
spikes, some spikes were seen. There was,
स्पाइक्स और सीन क्या दिखता है?
in silver stain, spikes are black, like silver stain में
ठीक है.
spikes are
स्पाइक्स
visible.
दिखते हैं.
व्हाट डज इट
What
स्टेन?
does the spike stain?
So actually, there was a grow of the basement membrane. Basically, sustain the basement membrane.
So the
That-
silver stains the basement membrane.
Yes, ma'am.
What do you see in membranous when you do a silver stain?
For basement membrane का, is there any is
Chalo,
there,
we'll ask it a different way. In an electron microscopy, if you do membranous का electron microscopy, what would you see on electron microscopy?
so on electron microscopy I would like to see some subepithelial deposits.
Sub epi deposits in
Epithelial.
membranous nephropathy.
Epithelial. Subepithelial deposits.
सब एपिथेलियल ही होंगे.
Intramembranous होंगे predominantly inside the
नहीं,
membrane.
जब वो ग्रो करके ऐसे जुड़ जाते हैं तब वो इंट्रा चले जाते हैं. उससे पहले सब
During
epithelial
staging, first stage, second epithelial deposits, subepithelial.
like this. So you
Okay,
get them
so-
here, membrane मोटी,
So-
फिर वो बीच में ग्रो करके
when
ऐसे करते
when
हैं.
you see that out of this on the membrane on your silver stain, what is getting stained, what is not getting stained?
Silver stain is basically stain the basement membrane only.
So if you draw your membrane, this is your membrane, this is your deposit. What is getting stained, what is not getting
Sir,
stained?
deposit will not be stained. Only the membrane will be stained.
So this is getting stained and this is not getting stained.
Yes, sir.
So what are you going to see? You're going to see a hole. And what is outside, which is the membrane, will look like a spike, but there is no spike. What is actually happening is you have a hole and you're seeing this as, you're going to see, sorry, you're going to see this as, and you're going to see that as a spike coming around the membrane. But there is no spike, there is nothing coming around.
Yes, sir.
That is the deposit which is looking like a hole. So you get these spikes and holes, but they're actually the membrane having areas which are not going to get stained. And that is depending on how the membrane is cut, like this or this, you're going to see that. So that's spikes and holes that you're going to see will be because of the silver. ठीक है. Okay. So ये तो आपका उसमें आ गया. Tubules are okay. Then on IF, what are you looking for in membranous?
Sir, in membranes, I'm looking for, is there any deposition in which subepithelial deposit, is there any deposit, IgG deposit or C3 deposits or any other IgG4, I would like to differentiate between IgG4, IgG3, IgA deposit or IgM deposits is there. IF में, not in.
So
Electron.
membranous है, membranous में now if you see, let's say you see IgG, IgM, IgA, how would it change your diagnosis now?
हाँ जी sir.
Now you say you did IF and now you are seeing IgA, IgM, IgG, all of it is positive.
Some full house effect, so there is more chances of autoimmune disease. Secondary.
So
membranes.
कौन सा?
Sir, full house effect usually in the SLE, lupus.
ठीक है. So फिर lupus हो गया.
Yes, sir.
अब हम बोल रहे हैं ये प्राइमरी मेम्ब्रेनस है, PLA2R आपका पॉजिटिव है, तो उसमें फिर कैसा IF में क्या दिखना चाहिए?
IgG4 deposition होगा.
Okay.
It PLA2 may be localized with the C3, co-localizes
So
with
that's
the
a separate
C3.
stain.
Yes,
PLA2
sir.
is a separate stain. Immunofluorescence वाले आपके regular जो stains हैं, उनमें you are going to get a specific. If it is secondary membranous, not PLA2R mediated, how would your IgG staining be different?
Sir, in secondary usually IgG1 and IgG2 are present.
Okay. And so then if
And
it is
IgGA and
secondary,
IgGM may also be present there.
if it is secondary, what are you going to do? So now let's say this patient has secondary membranous. So how would your approach be different?
So management will be changed. Management will be wholly changed if the secondary.
So how? What would be different? Okay. So वो तो पैथोलॉजिस्ट कर रहा है. आप तो नेफ्रोलॉजिस्ट हो. Okay. So one is screen for malignancies. Second, you're going to talk to your pathologist and say, "Bhai, do special stains. Tell me which one it is." Na? Okay. So NEL1,
Thrombospondin 7A.
thrombospondin. So depending on what all is available with him, he can do additional stains, right? So then you're going to you've come up with secondary, so you're going to go back to the patient, which is why it's important to continue the story. So you have now secondary, you go back to the patient. Depending on which one stain is positive, you go back. NEL, face creams.
Mercury
So
containing face cream.
बाकी वाली अलग-अलग you're going to then go back depending on which one it is.
We had one NEL1 face creams were out of question for him. देसी आदमी था. He had a filling, dental filling. वही होगा. I mean, it's a guess.
Mercury.
जो भी आदमी था वो some देसी गांव का farmer types. He had a dental filling which was mercury based. So you need to go back
Yeah.
to the patient then.
From here
Usually.
you go back. ठीक है. So इसमें आपका IgG4 है, PLA2R staining है,
Yes, sir. Positive.
positive है, and PLA2R blood में भी
Blood
positive
में
है.
positive.
ठीक है. So now what do you want to do?
I would like to categorize the patient in low risk, moderate risk, high risk, or severe risk to decide the further treatment.
Okay. So how would you classify his risk right now?
Sir, in low risk, there is a GFR are usually maintained, albumin level is more than 3 gram, and protein is less than proteinuria is less than 3.5 gram. If these criteria are fulfilled, we would like to wait and watch and keeping the patient on the supportive therapy in the form of ARB or ACE inhibitors.
Okay.
After 6 months, if patient doesn't improve and have persistent proteinuria, and is there any decrease in the urine, like is there any GFR decline, then we should offer patient other treatment available in the form of immunosuppressant like rituximab or cyclophosphamide.
So that is one category, low risk patients, done. Next risk?
So moderate risk patients in which the GFR is declining or same, or urine protein is more than 3.5 gram and serum albumin is less than 3, but or patient may have the criteria of the low risk group, and patient have not improving or not receiving improving with these medication. So patient, in that case, if patient is not having the symptoms of high risk, but in this patient also we can provide treatment like rituximab or cyclophosphamide.
Okay. So that is medium risk. And then high risk?
High risk means a patient is having proteinuria more than 8 gram, or there is a if patient is having the features of moderate group but having other markers like PLA2 level more than 50 RU per ml, or beta 2 microglobulins more than 250, or alpha 1 microglobulins more than 40, that in these cases there is a high risk. These patients are categorized as high risk and should be immediately give rituximab, either Ponticelli regimen or.
Okay. So now आपने decide कर लिया है he is in which category?
Sir, he is in moderate risk category.
Okay. And you decided you want to start treatment. So how do you want to decide for him or for anyone else which treatment you want to give?
Sir, in this before giving, if I want to give rituximab, before giving rituximab we should look for any active infection ongoing in the patient, or we should rule out for any chronic infections like TB or anything else which
that applies to cyclophosphamide equally well.
like
If you're giving immunosuppression, you should.
It applies to any immunosuppression.
How are you going to check? So what are you going to do for checking? So you said you want to look for active infections including TB. What are you going to do to look?
first in the history, like is
history
there
में तो
इसमें तो उसने
Nothing
बोल ही
is
दिया
there.
कुछ नहीं है, ठीक है, फिर
or sputum test, if is there present,
Sputum
if there,
test?
if
तो आपने
there's-
इसका स्पूटम टेस्ट कराया था?
नहीं, मैं सिर्फ बता रही हूँ just.
नहीं मैम, सो अगेन ऐसे नहीं बताओ ना, क्योंकि आप ऐसे बताओगे तो फिर खिचड़ी में पच जाओगे. Because then what you are saying is that for every patient you have ever started on rituximab or cyclophosphamide, you have done 3 sputums.
No.
तो फिर क्यों बोल रहे हो? इसकी हिस्ट्री में भी नहीं है, इसके कहीं उसमें भी नहीं है, तो आप वो क्यों बोल रहे हो कि आप वो करने वाले हो? जो आप नहीं करने वाले वो नहीं बोलो, जो कोई नहीं कर रहा है वो नहीं बोलो.
रूटीन में क्या करोगे यार? एक चेस्ट एक्सरे कर लोगे और क्या कर लोगे?
चेस्ट एक्सरे वैसे ही कर चुके हो आप इसका.
एक रूटीन में चेस्ट एक्सरे कर लेते हैं और क्या करोगे?
सिम्टम्स नहीं है, चेस्ट एक्सरे क्लियर है, आप आगे बढ़ोगे.
बात खत्म. That's what everyone does practically.
There are no symptoms. There is symptom. There is something. Then you go
Then
looking
you
for
be
it.
specific.
So okay. So how are you going to decide whether you're going to give him? You already said 2 Ritux and Cyclophos. So how are you going to decide which patient to give Ritux, which patient to give Cyclophos?
सर अगर सर लॉन्ग टर्म में देखें तो पॉन्टिसेली रेजिम इज मतलब गोल्ड स्टैंडर्ड, तो काइंड ऑफ पॉन्टिसेली रेजिम में वही बेस्ट उसका ही आउटकम है.
Okay. So Ponticelli regimen. पर आपके डॉक्टरों ने तो नहीं
तुमने तो
माना.
rituximab दिया है
आपके डॉक्टरों ने तो नहीं माना. आपके डॉक्टरों का तो ख्याल अलग है, तो उन्होंने क्यों नहीं किया?
हाई रिस्क केसेस में सर रिटुक्सिमैब शुड बी गिवन इन हाई रिस्क
ये
केसेस.
कहाँ पे है?
ये तो उल्टा है.
ये कहाँ पे है?
हाँ,
ये कहाँ पे है? ये कहाँ से है कि हाई रिस्क में रिटक्सिमैब शुड
ऐसा
बी
तो
गिवन?
कहीं नहीं है.
Most people's personal experience at least is the reverse.
वही मैंने
that
कहा,
if you have very high PLA2Rs, their response with Ritux is not as good, and you end up having to give additional treatment because they don't fully respond with 2 doses of Ritux. At least that's my personal experience, having done it in at least 3-4 of PLA2Rs that are above 100.
or you need to give more doses to them.
That's also possible.
That's the
Two-
other thing.
You could do 2
So-
and then give more, or
Exactly.
you end up having
They would
to give
require more
cyclophosphamide
doses.
also.
Definitely
So-
would require more doses.
Or the other way is you then say, I have learned from mine and others' experience and I'm going to start with cyclophos because that is something that is happening in these. So,
Look, this guy is 63. I mean, he could have been, let's say, 40. Then he may have reasons not to use cyclophosphamide.
So, if he
Then you have to consider the toxicity, in your head.
Infertility and toxicity before giving the.
Infertility, malignancy, because a 40-year-old guy has 40 years to live. This guy may have, let's say, 15 years to live. So malignancy risk may not be as important to him as for a younger person. So you have to kind of weigh your options on many things, and you should know what those things are.
so membranous mein, what are kind of some of the
Chalo,
key
Ritexi-
publications that you're going to need to know? Not just
Starting-
treatment. So let's start with membranous itself and then you can focus and narrow on treatment itself. So what are some of the key things that okay, so Ponticelli regimen का हो गया, ठीक है,
Mental,
सबको हाँ, सबको लेकिन खाली ट्रीटमेंट छोड़ लो भाई, 2 बार बोल दिया
सब
ट्रीटमेंट
trials.
छोड़ दो. So why is PLA2R, where does PLA2R come from?
Gemritux trial.
PLA2R कहाँ से आया?
PLA2R is associated with membranous and is something
से
that
आया?
you can track. Where does that come from? अरे भाई, publication. So which publication proves or shows one publication, the original publication of PLA2R? That PLA2R is associated with membranous. अरे हेमनेफ्राइटिस में
और कहाँ
PLA2R
पहुंच
तब पैदा ही भी नहीं हुआ था जब
PLA का
हेमनेफ्राइटिस
P भी नहीं पैदा हुआ था.
सो NEJM पेपर है,
NEJM पेपर है कोई.
by David Salant and Larry Beck, which describes and shows membranous. All 70% of patients have PLA2R which is positive, with minimal change in FSGS as controls, where none of them have it. And then he has a patient who has serially followed with multiple PLA2Rs. When the disease is active, PLA2R is present. When the disease goes silent, PLA2R is gone. Okay, so the reason I bring it up is that these are classic papers that are now defined our situation. Before this, you said there is a low risk group that you don't need to treat. Where and how do we know that? That you can have patients who you don't treat with membranous and their kidney doesn't fail. Right? So that is the assumption. Where does that assumption come from? So another NEJM paper, 1992-93, I've forgotten the author, 30-year follow-ups of membranous, from which you can say that around 30% of patients with membranous not treated at 30 years have not lost their kidney. And another 30% have disappeared. 30% proteinuria is continuing, kidney function doesn't deteriorate, 30% proteinuria disappears, no treatment. And so then you get to, okay, there are now newer studies that have classified them better, low risk, medium risk, high risk, but the original paper. So those are things that, as now you're getting into this, things that, yes, there are fancy new randomized trials as well. So those are also important to know. There is PGI Chandigarh's paper with Raja.
Raja
So Raja Ramchandran's paper. So you need to know treatment options, including Ritux versus other immunosuppression, Mentor. So all of those are kind of things that you should know. Ritux versus Cyclo. But also go back to the underlying assumptions that we have. That
Game changing stuff, basically.
that you should kind of actually read through those papers, because those are going to be where a lot of this information is coming through. That you can track PLA2R. You've given treatment, repeat PLA2R. If someone's membranous is gone, there is no active deposition happening, when will the proteinuria disappear? So let's say you've given Ritux 2 doses, 1 gram, 1 gram. When will the proteinuria disappear if the disease is gone?
You have to assess the response, right? So when do you expect the
The
response?
response, the proteinuria
And
is gone.
put in simpler terms.
3 months, 2 to 3.
तुक्के मार रहे हो सब.
चलो अब मैं
दो
दूसरा
कभी
बताता हूँ. बेस्ट एग्जाम्पल, गोल्ड से मेम्ब्रेनस होता था. रूमेटॉइड आर्थराइटिस के लिए गोल्ड दिया जाता था. मैंने गोल्ड देना बंद कर दिया, मेम्ब्रेनस हो गया, मैंने गोल्ड देना बंद कर दिया. उनका प्रोटीन्यूरिया कितनी देर में जाता था?
2 to 3?
मेम्ब्रेनस
नहीं,
कहाँ पे
इतनी
डिपॉजिट हो
जल्दी
रहा है?
कहीं नहीं
मेम्ब्रेनस
जाता.
कहाँ डिपॉजिट हो रहा है? So again, that's what I'm saying. Predominantly it is inside the membrane. Membrane के अंदर से कैसे साफ होगा?
Once it is regenerated, it is sloughed off and regenerated.
नीचे से स्लफ ऑफ नहीं हो रहा, नीचे से WBC has to go in and try and clean it up. ठीक है? So the active diseases in which you have sub-endo deposit, they will be more active, they'll disappear quicker because WBC has access to it, those deposits. So sub-endo deposits will go away very quickly. Intramembranous sub-epi deposits will not go away very quickly, they'll take longer. Your inflammatory diseases, the reason they're inflammatory is those deposits are exposed to the endothelium. That's why you get WBC, hematuria, all of that. And they will disappear quicker. So your lupus, your IgA, you treat, they'll disappear quicker. Your RBCs will go away quicker. Membranous is inside. WBCs don't have access to it. They will take years. So gold, 1 to 2 years for the proteinuria to completely go away. PLA2R, from treatment, PLA2R disappears in the blood in 2 to 4 weeks. Proteinuria will go away 6 to 9 months minimum. Minimum. So you look at, so the reason why I'm bringing it up is if you look at the same Larry Beck paper and then follow up that they have done over time, we've given treatment, PLA2R has disappeared, proteinuria goes away significantly longer time. So because what will happen is you will have your patient, you've given now 1, 2 weeks later he'll come back for a second, you'll call him up for another 2-week follow-up and he'll say my proteinuria था अभी भी 3 ग्राम
अभी
है.
उतना ही चल रहा है.
तो अब आप क्या करोगे? वो कहेगा मेरा तो सीरम एल्ब्यूमिन 1.8 था अब 2 हो गया, एडीमा अभी भी चल रहा है, प्रोटीन्यूरिया तो गया नहीं, अब क्या करो? You have to
Wait for
wait.
6
Wait,
months.
wait.
उसको से पहले you have to wait. So you have to be clear that what is the expectation. So you have to be clear to the patient. Slow on, slow off. This is not going to be. Don't call him every 2 weeks. Because you call him every 2 weeks, आपके हाथ में itching होनी शुरू हो जाएगी.
नहीं, और उसको पहले से ही वार्न कर देना चाहिए कि इसमें समय लगेगा.
एंड आप उसको 2-2, 3-3 महीने में बुलाओ.
कम से कम 4-6 महीने में कुछ रिस्पॉन्स दिखना शुरू होएगा. उसको पहले से ही वार्न कर दो. ट्रीट इज नेफ्रोटिक स्टेट.
महीने बुलाने लगोगे तो कभी ना कभी तो आप उसको फिर रिटक्स दे चुके हो तो साइक्लो दे दोगे, साइक्लो दे चुके हो तो रिटक्स दे दोगे.
कुछ ना कुछ करोगे.
कुछ ना कुछ तो करोगे, क्योंकि आपके भी हाथ में नहीं हो रहा, कुछ तो कर दो. एंड अगेन यूज PLA2R. Do a PLA2R. If the PLA2R is gone, you know the disease is gone. No need for immunosuppression. This will, but 350 unlikely to go away with Ritux. At least not with 2 doses. So आप कराओगे, you give 2 doses, you do it in 4 weeks after, probably 50 to 100 तब भी रहेगा. देन सवाल होगा कि अब क्या करना है, ज्ञान। देन यू ओपन द पेंडोरास बॉक्स और व्हाट हैपेंस?
I think
Other
any questions
on
on anything for that matter.
membranous MCD, nephrotic syndrome,
Anything for that matter.
साथ साथ में और क्या क्या दिया? चलो, और क्या क्या दिया इसको? रिटक्स तो आपने एक लगा के घर भेज दिया, दूसरे के लिए वो 2 हफ्ते में आएगा। What medicines did you send him home on?
Sir, other supportive treatments.
मैम ये तो हवा हवा हो गया ना, पेपर पे दवाइयाँ क्या लिखी?
अभी तो मैंने बोला था नेफ्रोटिक स्टेट का इलाज तो कर दो।
Paper.
क्या ABCDEF
Exactly.
क्या दिया?
Sir, मतलब
ACE दिया?
ARVs.
क्या दिया?
नाम
तो
बता
बताओ।
दो उसमें
कोई
क्या है?
एक
Tablet Talma 40
ठीक है, ओके, once a day,
once a day.
ठीक है, ओके, फिर
इसका अगली बार आएगा तो डोज बढ़ाओगी या उतना ही रखोगी? अच्छा ये भी बता दो।
मैम बीपी तो एकदम बिल्कुल नॉर्मल साइड में चला था, हम प्रोटीन यूरिया के लिए
ब्लड
देना चाह
प्रेशर
रहे हैं।
कंट्रोल के लिए तो दे ही नहीं रहे।
हाँ, प्रोटीन यूरिया के लिए देना चाह रहे हैं।
हाँ,
तो अगर
so? तो अब 2 हफ्ते बाद चलो आया तो क्या करोगी ये बता दो, बस बढ़ाना चाहोगी या नहीं चाहोगी?
अगर मैम डिक्लाइनिंग होगा तो फिर
क्या डिक्लाइन करेगा?
प्रोटीन यूरिया अगर कम
कैसे
हो रहा
decline करेगा?
कहाँ डिक्लाइन करेगा यार 2
अभी तो-
हफ्ते में? अभी तो
दूसरा ड्रग्स लगने आने वाला है वो।
एग्जैक्टली अभी तो समझा के चुके हैं, इतनी जल्दी मत
कुछ नहीं
कराओ।
होगा।
कुछ नहीं होगा।
करा लो, दैट इज फाइन, बट फिर अपने हाथों को रोक के रखो।
हाँ खुजली होएगी फिर।
सो करा लो, उस पर कोई नहीं है, जानकारी रख लो, बट यू हैव टू बी अवेयर ऑफ व्हाट यू आर टेस्टिंग एंड व्हाई एंड व्हाट यू आर लुकिंग फॉर।
So the point I'm trying to drive home is try to increase it fundamentally.
Yes. Unless they are getting
Unless he's
symptomatic
not tolerating.
hypotensive.
हाँ.
Unless they are getting symptomatically
Symptoms हो रहे
hypotensive.
हैं तब नहीं कर सकते।
Or hyperkalemic, which with a creatinine which is normal,
Should not
and
happen.
with what we expect is drug number B, should not be happening. So what should be drug number B?
B.
SGLT2 inhibitor
हाँ?
मतलब not should be not be added like
सेकंड ड्रग क्या होगी?
Second, drug number B
So ये
क्या
तो
होनी चाहिए?
A थी,
एक आपने
अब B
टेलमी
क्या
साटन
है?
बोल दिया,
Yes, sir.
ड्रग B क्या होनी चाहिए?
इसमें क्या सोचना
अरे
है?
यार वहां कहाँ पहुंच गए?
कहाँ
पहले
पहुंच
उससे
गए?
पहले तो अभी 5 साल पहले की जगह 40 साल पहले वाली दवाई तो बता दो।
अरे वो सूजा हुआ है, उसकी सूजन तो कम
उसकी
करो।
जिंदगी में क्या दुख है?
सूजन
उसकी जिंदगी में प्रोटीन लीकिंग दुख नहीं है, सूजन दुख है। उसका दुख तो ठीक कर लो,
सूजन तो कम कर दो।
कुछ तो क्रेडिट ले लो कि भाई तुमने उसकी सूजन कम कर दी, उसकी दुख दर्द को ठीक कर लिया। उसको मेम्ब्रेनस से कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ रहा, उसको प्रोटीनूरिया से कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ रहा, उसको 80,000 का तुमने
PLA2
रिटक्स लगा
से कोई
दिया,
फर्क नहीं पड़
उसको
रहा।
कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ रहा है। उसको फर्क पड़ रहा है मैं 8 किलो लेके चल नहीं पा रहा हूँ। उसकी दुख दर्द को डाइटोर दे के, टॉर्समाइड दे के कुछ तो कम कर लो। दैट इज व्हाट ही केयर्स अबाउट। एंड इन फॉलो अप ask him to get weights done, get his weight down, get his edema down. आप वो स्टैंडर्ड 10 मिलीग्राम पे घर भेज दो, that's okay, but make sure you escalate to reduce his edema because that is all he cares about. Get him to be able to be functional, है ना? So हमारे one of our ex-professors for us would tape 1 liter NS bags on our legs, both legs, so 2 liters on left, 2 liters on right, and have us walk 1 day to say कि ये तो 2 लीटर है, तुम 5-5 लीटर दोनों पाँव पे 10-10 वालों को घर भेजते हो और डायबिटिक नहीं बढ़ाते। So just to kind of, that can be a huge difficulty for them. So just make sure that is what is actually bothering them. Creatinine is normal, they have nothing else to worry about. So drug B, drug C तो यहाँ पे लोग ऑलरेडी
डेपा थी वो।
हाँ डेपा पे
डेपा
हाँ,
होगी 3।
ठीक है। मेम्ब्रेनस में तो चलो
Evidence
उतना
तो
कम है पर ठीक है, चलो C भी ऐड हो गई। और Okay, so anticoagulation. So now, what and how and when would you anticoagulate and when would you not? In membranous, we are now talking membranous nephropathy only.
If there is a high risk of cardiovascular diseases or there is a
Cardiovascular disease.
कार्डियोवैस्कुलर
ये कहाँ
डिजीज
से आ
कहाँ से
गया?
आ गया?
thermometric
क्या हो गया बस? I think she's fatigued out.
So पेशेंट है membranous nephropathy का, इसको आप एंटीकोएगुलेट कर रहे हो कि नहीं?
सर
इस particular patient को करोगी अच्छा से, yes or no?
बिकॉज हिज सीरम एल्बुमिन इज 1.8. सीरम
Okay.
एल्बुमिन इज इफ इट इज अबव 2.5 ग्राम देन देयर इज नो.
ठीक है, आपने इसको किस एंटीकोएगुलेशन पे घर भेजा? भेजा इसको घर पे? गया है? आई डाउट गया होगा. गया है एंटीकोएगुलेशन पे? किसी को मालूम है? गंगाराम गाइस,
गंगाराम फर्स्ट रो.
एंटीकोएगुलेशन पे गया है कि नहीं गया है? आई डाउट.
नहीं इसको तो एंटीकोएगुलेट करना बनता है यार.
नहीं गया होगा. क्यों नहीं गया होगा?
We do it usually.
क्यों नहीं गया होगा?
तो काफी कर देते हैं.
सीरम एल्बुमिन
नहीं गया क्यों नहीं है? मैं आपको ये बता रहा हूँ, ये नहीं गया है एंटीकोएगुलेशन पे. पर क्यों नहीं गया है? बायोप्सी हुई है. 100% नहीं गया है. 8 तारीख को बायोप्सी हुई है, 14 से पहले ये घर गया है. बायोप्सी के
3-4 दिन
कारण
तो
नहीं दिया
बहुत
पता. सो आई एम सेइंग नहीं गया होगा.
नहीं 3-4 दिन तो बहुत है. उसके बाद तो
usually-
शुरू कर सकते हैं.
लॉन्ग रन में
मतलब आफ्टर 48 और 72 आवर्स वी ऐड इक्विस्प्रिन इफ वी डू बायोप्सी आल्सो.
आप इसको कौन सा एंटीकोएगुलेंट देने वाले हो? इकोस्प्रिन देने वाले हो?
इसमें नहीं मैं बता
Ecosprin
मैं
is
इसकी
not
बात
an
कर रहा हूँ, मैं भी किसी और
anticoagulant.
मैं की बात, हम बात किसकी? अगेन यू स्टार्ट ओपनिंग अ डिफरेंट पेंडोरा बॉक्स, फिर टांग खिंच जाओगी. इकोस्प्रिन कहाँ आ गया इसमें? इकोस्प्रिन इसमें है ही नहीं. इसमें कौन सा एंटीकोएगुलेंट देने वाले हो आप? पिक्साबैन ले रहे हो सम आज के दिन. और यू कैन से वी आर गोइंग टू एंटीकोएगुलेट फर्स्ट विद लो मॉलिक्यूलर वेट एंड देन स्विच टू एंटी 10A. So that is fine, but so again the reason we are asking this is because majority of the time we don't do these things. These are not things that are routine and that are being done for all membranous patients. Membranous इधर से उधर जाता है, उधर से इधर आता है, नहीं दिखता आपको कि ये हर membranous को मिल रहा है. So ठीक है. और एक और possibility, आपने Ponticelli दिया, ABCD के बाद E में कौन सा डालना है नहीं डालना है? नहीं स्टेरॉइड की तो बात ही नहीं कर रहे.
नहीं इवन एक्चुअली रेटेक्सी में आपके साथ भी डाल देते हैं लोग तो.
सेप्ट्रान देना है कि नहीं देना है? PCP prophylaxis देना है कि नहीं? Again, there is pluses and minuses. You want to do it or not? Each center might have its own opinion. We are in a data-free zone. So, but PCP prophylaxis. So again, the question is you should think about those. May or may not do it, but you should be actively aware that these are things that need to be thought about to consider whether you want to do it in this situation or not, for this particular patient or not. And whether there are other features which are making it more prone. So maybe he's had cyclophos before. Now he's getting retux. So there in that situation, you really would want to make sure you cover PCP. You already done immunosuppression before. So in that situation,
We actually routinely do CMV and PCP. That's our routine.
CMV prophylaxis also. Ouch.
क्या?
For all retux.
Most
Okay.
retaxes हम तो कर
आपका
देते हैं.
है उतना CMV? मैं तो ट्रांसप्लांट में भी CMV.
ट्रांसप्लांट में मेरे नहीं है CMV.
अच्छा,
ट्रांसप्लांट
retux
में
वाला
कोई CMV नहीं है. वो तो हम कर रहे हैं. लेकिन
हाँ नहीं. But
रेटेक्स में हम कर देते
I-
हैं यार. It's I think worth it.
I haven't seen it, so which is why I haven't done it. But yeah, maybe
Yeah,
you need to
see
get
it.
burnt once. You need to get burnt once
And
to do
then-
it for everyone.
Then we do it for everyone.
Yeah. Oh,
Somewhere I think when I started using it many years ago, the standard reco was that. Was that somewhere? Maybe whatever, wherever it was. So I started doing both at that time. Transplant में हमारे यहाँ CMV is negligible. Absolutely negligible. BKV and.
So
चलो चलें यार. It's 8:15.
other
Let's
questions, comments, anything? Statin? Yeah. A B C D E.
F.
अभी लिपिड प्रोफाइल तो मैम ने बताया ही नहीं हमें, ना पॉजिटिव में ना नेगेटिव में है। एलडीएल
सर करवाया था बट मतलब एलडीएल लिपिड प्रोफाइल करा होगा है, लिपिड प्रोफाइल थायराइड सब करा हुआ था।
करा होगा, बट अगेन highlights how much we need to focus on what is actually going to be relevant, that in your workup and in your reports what you collected LDL is missing. So nephrotic syndrome है भाई, LDL तो मालूम होना चाहिए, definition में है।
If there is no any renal dysfunction and there is plateau visibility, should we go ahead and put the biopsy?
फिर तो बात नहीं करेंगे ना।
क्या
क्यों
क्या
नहीं
say that
करोगे?
again?
क्यों नहीं करोगे?
नहीं, एक सेकंड, क्या कह रहे हो?
सो इन्होंने कहा ब्लड, सो आप 7 तारीख को बैठे हो, यूरिन प्रोटीन 5 ग्राम्स है, 24 आवर प्रोटीन 7 ग्राम है, PLA2R 350 आ गया है, मैं तो बायोप्सी नहीं करना
Oh,
चाहता।
there are some people I believe in that, but I think I at least I'm a proponent of biopsy.
Yeah, I would also want to biopsy. But
Biopsy still
let's say
there are
is some-
people who would
Yes.
say,
so let's say I make
based
a
on
story.
PLA.
I make a story. This patient comes with a DVT or comes in with renal vein thrombosis, where my priority is to make sure I anticoagulate him first and maintain anticoagulation for 3 to 6 months. Then I would say in that kind of a story, I would be okay with the PLA2R and treating him without a biopsy. But short of that, I would not biopsy them.
सर क्रिएटिनिन भी नॉर्मल है, नॉर्मल क्रिएटिनिन।
हाँ,
क्रिएटिनिन तो मैम
creatinine
membranous है, तो
mostly
क्रिएटिनिन तो
membranous के
नॉर्मल ही
normal
होगा।
मान के चलो,
क्रिएटिनिन तो नॉर्मल ही होगा।
usually normal होते हैं।
अब PLA2R 30 आया, 20 आया, थ्रेशोल्ड 10 है, 15 है। अब वो once you start the slippery slope, then there is the question of, and
So,
why are you hesitant to do a biopsy?
What additional information you will get from the biopsy?
You will get tons and tons of additional information. The possibility of it not being membranous at all. Where is the serial data that all PLA2R patients have had membranous? The data is not there. डेटा तो उल्टे डायरेक्शन से है, बायोप्सी सबकी हो रखी है, उनमें PLA2R कितना है, तो 70% के है। 70% of patients with membranous have PLA2R. Reverse data that I have done now in all nephrotic syndromes में PLA2R, जिसका PLA2R पॉजिटिव है उनमें से कितनों के membranous है, 100% है कि नहीं है? That is what your question is on trying to answer. Where is that data that I have done PLA2R in all and done membranous biopsies and all? So there is that assumption. Assumption is reasonable, but
I think
at
it's
present,
As
and
of
biopsy
now,
is
it's better to biopsy.
Biopsy is a very safe procedure. It is not a very high risk procedure. Why? You are a nephrologist. Don't hesitate. normal kidney function, 2 किडनियां हैं, एक में बायोप्सी कर रहे हो।
एक हो तो भी
एक हो
कर लो भाई,
तो भी कर लो, बट
एक है तो भी कर लो।
इसमें तो इसमें कहाँ हिचकिचा रहे हो? गन इन पॉकेट। So, again, in a specific scenario where anticoagulation is more important, I would be comfortable doing it. Otherwise, not.
Or in other words, if there is a contraindication to a biopsy,
Yeah, yeah.
for whatever
That's
reason.
Yeah, yeah. Means in this I can make the scenario, because again it's not कि मैं कोई अपने मन से बना रहा हूँ. We've seen those patients. Patients have had membranous for many months. They never got diagnosed. They came in with either some kind of
that
venous
happens.
thrombosis or DVT, and renal vein thrombosis भी लोगों ने देखे हो. So वो आपने देखा, अब आप उस समय बायोप्सी करने नहीं जाओगे. आप PLA2R करोगे और आप एंटीकोएगुलेट करोगे और आप ट्रीट करोगे. Because no matter which criteria he comes in based on urine albumin and blood albumin, he has a DVT, he is now high risk. You need to get his nephrotic syndrome control because his hypercoagulability is dependent on it. So you want to treat him, get his hypercoagulability be corrected.